Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. I'm excited to be here with you. And before we get started, I really want to share that I have been thinking a lot about what to share with you that is going to be most helpful for you in terms of what it is that you need right now, perhaps in your life or business, and specifically business, because I've been thinking a lot about how is the quarter going. I know we are ending a quarter and starting the next quarter, so I'm doing a lot of planning and really considering what's going on with me this year and what are my plans. So I wanted to share that when I first started Fit to Profit, I had the biggest dreams, coming from a brick and mortar space. I knew that I wanted to do things differently this time. I know I learned everything through trial and error with my brick and mortar businesses, and this time with this coaching and consulting business, I knew that I wanted to go online. I knew that I wanted to be virtual, and I wanted to have as much freedom with my time as possible. So I made one of the biggest mistakes, which was, I really do believe a blessing in disguise that cost me $30,000. Can you imagine that? That's why I call this episode a $30,000 mistake. You know, I- and if you know me, and if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been in your shoes before. I've been in your position at some point, and I'm really sharing this with the intention that no matter what kind of mistake you make, you're actually falling forward, right? Like we were talking about the failing forward concept, and getting things done imperfectly. That's one way for you to really learn. So as you already know already from my brick and mortar space, I was actually completely burnt out, right? Like I was really struggling, and I was tired, and I was coming out from a not very great experience. And um I really wanted to make sure that I was set up for success. And I knew that I needed to hire a coach. And I knew that I wanted directions from a coach, and I was willing to do anything to make sure that I was going to be successful. So, but in retrospect, looking back to where I was at the moment, coming out of my brick and mortar space, and I was completely burnt out, I wasn't in a place where I was physically taken care of, emotionally ready, or I was mentally ready to take on the coaching. And although I had a vision and I knew that I was ready to do the work, I was not primed for it. And the point of me sharing this story with you is just so that no matter where you are in your business, especially if you're starting a business or if you're ready to take your business to the next level, there are some things that you shall really consider in terms of hiring that coach. And I wish that someone had sat me down, asked me the important questions that I need to answer before making that decision. And every mistake I make is definitely a stepping stone, and I'm not saying I have any regrets, but I do want to share all of what I have learned with you so that way you're not going to be making the same mistake. So the 6 steps or the 6 questions I would say for you to really consider when you're thinking about hiring a coach. The first thing is, what is your ultimate goal? Like, what is your goal out of, wanting to hire this coach? And what do you want to achieve? Perhaps like it's business growth, I know, right? And do you really need help in creating the foundation, or do you need help in creating the operations and the processes of your business? Or maybe you just want to focus on business development, and you, whatever the goal may be, you should be really specific of what it is that you want to achieve. And I should have known, but I didn't. And I knew I want to build a coaching business, so I was just going after the person that was selling the package to coaches who are trying to launch businesses. And before I knew it, I signed up for it. But what I was really recommended to do, I didn't have the foundation for, unfortunately. I know I want to launch the business and grow the business, but I didn't have a message. I didn't have a vision, like a true vision for what I really want to do with the company. And here I was given the advice to go out there and take on speaking opportunities when I didn't have a clue of what it is that I want to talk about. So I'm sharing this with you just to share that it's important for you to know why you are hiring this coach. So, in retrospect, what I should have done is perhaps maybe work with someone to get my messaging down. But I didn't know that. I just went after this coach who was giving me all the strategies of how to go out there and, find a customer, which I understand, right? Like every single business, you want to start with cash flow. You want to make sure that you're bringing money in. I get that. But there should be also fundamentals that should be set up so that then you will be ready to do the XYZ. I was told to get speaking engagements when I didn't have a message or like a vision. So maybe the fundamentals for me back then would have been like try to get clear on what it is that I'm trying to do. So that's the first question that I would really engage or encourage you to really consider is ask yourself, what is the ultimate goal that you want to achieve in hiring this coach, or what is the goals you want to achieve in your business, and you have to be specific with like the 1, 2, and 3 steps that you want to take. Okay. And then secondly, I believe that 80% of business is mindset and 20% is strategy. And oftentimes people hire a coach for just a strategy piece. And which is great, don't get me wrong, but coaching alone is definitely powerful, but you have to know, is it really enough for you, right? Do you need other resources? Do you need processes? Just like very similar to the first question I encourage you to think about is what are your ultimate goals? So know that is coaching is going to be enough for you. And what kinds of coaching do you need? Do you need mindset coaching more so or the strategy? So you have to really know what kind of I want to say if coaching is the only thing that you're going to need, because chances are, what I also learned is after I have the strategy from my coach, I have to go out and find the VA that's going to help me with the technology piece. I have to go out and find a copywriter who's going to help me nurture all of the, nurture my audience and help me write all the copy and all of the emails that I'm going to be writing and such. So you have to know who it is that you need is a key player before you actually think about hiring the coach. Okay, so that's the second question. And the third one that I want to encourage, especially entrepreneurs and in this space right now, is that there's a guarantee that you're going to face is change. Are you ready for change? Are you open to changes in the marketplace, right? In terms of technology, in terms of market performance and where how everything is happening. A coach can help you navigate the changes and the tides in the industry and such like that, but and help you uncover the blind spots. And that's what I do with my clients. Oftentimes, like, the strategy is very customized to exactly what it is that the change in the market, but also it's really aligned with who they are as people. So for example, I would never recommend for someone to start a business without a message, without a vision, and who is a sincere introvert to go out there and look for speaking opportunities. I 100% support speaking opportunities. In fact, I teach that as one of the strategies to, is the fastest way to cash, but giving the right foundation and giving the right personality, and the person has to be ready for it, right? Otherwise, it's just going to be a disaster. And I honestly really learned it the hard way. I went out asking for speaking engagements when I didn't even have a topic. I wasn't even ready. I was just told, go apply, go ask anybody if they needed a speaker, and just put yourself out there, which I did. But then I didn't have the confidence, or I couldn't build my confidence, because I didn't have the tools or the preparation that I needed in terms of, getting everything set up before I actually went out there and asked for a speaking engagement. So Now what I teach my client is, yes, I can definitely see them be ready to speak or not. I have other strategies that we can customize together to get them prepped and also prepared, set them up for success so eventually they can speak. So things like that. Yes, you are going to be hiring a coach. You are going to be adapted to change is super important. That is the third question that I would engage for you to for you to engage in, is asking, are you ready to accept the changes? And perhaps the changes with you really learning a different way of showing up. Fourthly, are you willing to commit to working on yourself and your business at the same time? One of my first coaches, I love her to this day. She told me that if you ever wanted to work on yourself, start a business, because owning a business is like self-development on steroids. And I can tell you what, again, going back to business is 80% mindset, it's really completely it. You need to have the right mindset so that way it will get you motivated, and so that you can stay working on your plan, right? And I hate to really spoil it for you. Coaches are not magicians. Like, we're just not miracle workers. Like, we wish that we are, and I wish that I was. But it's actually, coaching relationship is actually a partnership. Like, I actually am there to provide directions and also provide you, the map of where the potholes are going to be. But you're actually the driver. You have to put the gas in the engine. Like, you have to do the work. And oftentimes it's like we're working, it's a mutual relationship. We're working in tandem with each other. I provide you the strategy, you have to do the work. But oftentimes it's not so much the strategy that is going to get you there. It's also the drive that you have, the motivation that you have. And to have the drive and the motivation, you have to have the right mindset. you know Working, in business involve managing many different things in terms of, having to navigate technology for someone, especially, you guys know my story already. I'm like completely afraid of technology, not as much anymore. I'm definitely more brave with that. But having the right support in terms of like the people that is going to be behind you and supporting you and running your business, that's super important too. So you have to be willing to go the extra mile. You have to be willing to work on yourself and really look within to see what it is that, you really need to work on. Because hiring a coach is one thing, but also you have to be willing to work on yourself. Hiring a coach is gets you the opportunity to work on your business, but your work and your job is completely working on yourself so that you can continue implementing the business plan that you're provided by the coach, aka strategy. Okay. And fifth question that I would want you to consider is, what are you really looking for in a coach? Here's what I mean by that. Coaching and consulting, different, we offer different levels of guidance and really support. And, you know, really in the most recent years, people wear both hats in terms of, being a coach, meaning like rooting you on and, believing in you and things like that. But consulting is just another piece within it. And sometimes, I was taught this new term. It's coach salting. It's coaching and consulting at the same time. It's like coach salting. And, it's a partnering process with the client, and really being able to ask the right questions so the client can actually come up with their own answers. But at the same time, when it is appropriate, you can be providing your experience, your expertise, and also the tools that have worked for you. And I would never teach a strategy or something that I have never tried on my own in terms of, you know, trying to work it out in my business. It's like, if I believe that if I was going to teach something, I have to have walked the walk if I'm going to preach it. And so know that the coaching relationship is a partnership between you and the coach. And then secondly too, that you have to also, do the work and be willing to make mistakes, and going back to trying on the new tools and such. So that is another way to really look into, okay, what kind of coach am I looking for? um and the coaching style also is important as well, depends on how you learn. And every coach has a different style of supporting their clients too. So it's important that you really know the type of coach that you're looking for. And last but not least, I really want to emphasize that this is one of the most important questions, is what type of accountability do you need? And here's what I mean by that. Some of us we love working by ourselves, and we love managing our own projects, and other people love, other people having other people around, because they are verbal processors. And like me, for example, I love working with other people. So my support from a coach would be perhaps more using her or him more of like a sounding board, so that way I can process my ideas and being able to solve my own problems by verbalizing whatever it is that I need to. So the type of accountability and the type of support that you need is really super important to consider while you're going out there looking for the right coach, because everybody holds their clients accountable very differently. So for example, with my one-on-one client, I have a system to where they have to send me a recap for how things have went the previous week or 2 weeks, how everything is going. Then I have them suggest an agenda of what they want to talk about on our next session. One, the recap is really going to help me assess if the client was able to implement whatever it is that we talked about, or was she able to follow through whatever the goals or the action plan that we set out for her to do. And then lastly, by allowing her to create the agenda helps me really assess to see where she is in terms of her thought process and her train of thoughts in the next steps of what it is that she is doing. And I can tell you 9 out of 10 times, if the one client that is completely showing up, the recap is super thorough. She knows exactly what she wants to talk about and more. And I'm not saying that other people are not prepared, and really depends, you have your days and such, but it's really important to really get clear on the kind of support and how you want to be held accountable. Do you want to be reporting into a coach every week, like via a recap or things like that? Or how often do you want to meet the coach, right? It's important that you know that, so that way when you're going out there looking for the program, you know that, okay, I need more support. So I really want to make sure I meet with my coach 3 times a month versus once a month. Things like that. So once you know that how you want to be held accountable, it's really easy for you to be able to say, okay, once you have already the priorities met, you in terms of like the things you have to have in a coach, then the last piece and the most important piece is, how do you want to be held accountable? Okay, so that's it for you. That's what I want to share with you, because I have learned I have learned it the hard way, as I have already shared. And having invested $30,000 to really learn all of these things in terms of how to select the right coach. And I'm a coach. And to be really honest, oftentimes I do recommend my prospective client someone else that is a better fit than I do, because, I have my own style of coaching with clients. And the only time that I know that it's a fit is the way I teach and the way the person is going to receive the information. We are in line with each other. So those are the things that I highly recommend for you to consider when you are hiring coach, because otherwise you'll be running in circles. I mean, I can't stress enough that just because you have money or the resources to hire a coach doesn't mean that you hire any coach. I would suggest for you to do your due diligence, make sure you do your homework, go out there, talk to several coaches, in the industry, not necessarily like the best of the best. Sometimes I can tell you the upcoming coaches, honestly, I worked with the best coaches first and realized that I wasn't ready for her. And then after that, immediately I was coaching with an upcoming coach who's only been coaching for a couple of years, and she was phenomenal. She was phenomenal. And I got the most results with her. So just because someone has been in business for a long time doesn't mean that they have the coaching style that is going to be most effective for you. So do your homework. Those are the questions that I would consider for you to look into before hiring a coach. But I'm inspired to share that with you as I was just thinking about, how everything is going. If I need more support, do I need, what kind of coach I need, who else do I need to bring on board. So that's my thought for you this week. I just wanted to share that with you on this podcast. Until next time, I wish you the best of everything this week and take care of yourself. See you next week.